This is Pamela Lynch with the Spiritual Librarian Talk Show, and today I have with me Libby Lee, who is one of the authors in Beyond the Shift. Welcome, Libby. I am so excited to be having a conversation with you today and catch up with you. It's been a couple of 4 months. It's been 4 months since we launched Beyond the Shift, and it's been exciting. The book has been really well received, and I am so happy that you are one of the authors and that we get to continue our relationship and moving forward with this book and share this with even more people into the world. And I absolutely love your chapter, Reconnect with Your Inner Compass. And I would love for you to let the audience know a little bit about you. What have you been doing?
Yeah, a little bit about me. Well, thank you so much for having this conversation because I love this connection that we've had for a few years now. We connected in a really beautiful way with a program that we were both in, and I just love when certain connections take this whole new evolution, and then I can't even remember how something about your post kind of caught my attention, and I thought, wow, do I even have a story to tell? And then we got together and had a conversation about that, and I think it's not until we start to share our knowledge, share our experiences, that we realize, wow, I have been through some things and I do have a bit to share, and there are some things that I'm really, really passionate about. And I think that's what came through in my chapter. And don't get me wrong, writing a chapter, let alone writing a whole book, I can only imagine, I'm sure it'll happen one day, but even writing a chapter and putting your wisdom and your knowledge and your energy into something like this, it does have its own growth journey, and it brings up its own resistance, and you're like, oh, I didn't realize I had these fears here, and resistance around showing up and being seen in a certain way, and people who don't even realize that I'm spiritual or that I indulge in all of this energetic frequency work. You're then putting yourself out there and saying, hey, this is my philosophy, this is what I believe in, and this is what I want to share with the world. Having said that, even though the resistance came up, I would not change it for a thing, because like in my chapter, I really do believe that reconnecting with your inner compass is our soul guidance system, and that is what is always feeding back to us everything that we need to know in every single moment. And we are kind of programmed right from children and by society to listen to all of the outside noises, and we allow all of that static in, and it quietens down that inner guidance system that we have, and it goes to a tiny little whisper, and then it's really easy to ignore, and we start to then make decisions and take actions that pull us out of alignment continually. And the more that we might tell a little white lie, or we might exaggerate a story, or we say yes to something when we really want to say no, and repeating those patterns, continually doing that, is just pulling us further and further away from our true self and our true alignment. And that's when life gets a whole lot harder. And when we recognize it, that's the first step. Really recognize what patterns we are going through, how we are showing up every single day that's pulling us out of alignment. When we can come back into alignment, there is so much ease and flow, and life gets this innate momentum because we can get those instant answers. We know we're on the right track all the time, and that's what I kind of want to share with people. So thank you. Long answer to your very short question. That's my little tangent, but that's what I'm passionate about. Obviously my accent, I'm in Australia. I am a mum of 2 beautiful boys, and that's one thing that I want to see them living in their alignment. Don't deny yourself your truth, because the more that we can do it, life has so much more bliss and flow and grace, and the world would be a very different place if we could all live like that.
But we haven't been conditioned to do that. So one of the things I love about your chapter is that you give people the process on how to what I call the three R's. When you the process is engage in your inner compass, and it's the three R's. So recognize, reflect, and realign. So the first, what you're talking about is we have to first recognize when we're out of alignment, when things don't feel right, and when we start to recognize that the voices that we're hearing are actually not our own.
Yes. Yes, exactly. Is that my truth? Is that right for me? And some people think, "Oh my gosh, am I hearing voices in my head?" And no, sometimes it's that gut feeling, it's that gut instinct. And when we learn to actually recognize that as a signal, it's like we're driving a car and we are putting an indicator on to turn left or right. That gut instinct is showing us that, hang on, we're heading off track here. So, a flashing light, a warning sign is like, okay, let me just see where that's coming from. Is that because this doesn't feel right? Does this feel dangerous? Is this something that, it's not meant for me right now? Is there something around that person that's not right? And we can just take a moment to really, sit and reflect in that, because the awareness of that is the power. That's, it always starts with the awareness. And that's why that recognition is allowing, and it's really empowering actually. As soon as we become aware of something and we have that recognition, then we can make a new choice rather than be on autopilot, rather than ignore it, because we're constantly told to ignore it. No wonder our kids of this generation, they're flooded with anxiety and all the upset stomach, and it's really almost a lost art for us to really sit and recognize the signals that are constantly being fed back to us, because we are just this big, beautiful, energetic bubble. And just like the radio station, the tower on the hill sends that signal, we're receiving those signals as well. And not to get too esoteric, but we're receiving those signals, and that's when we know something isn't right here. And as long as we can pause, maybe you will progress and you're going to learn something, and that's okay too. But at least you can stop and go, oh, I did actually have a feeling about that. And a perfect example, Pamela, is we had this call booked a couple of weeks ago to have this chat, and I wasn't feeling well, and so I rescheduled. And Pamela just said to me today, you know what, I'm really glad you did, because that wasn't suitable for me at the time either. I would have pushed through, but really, ideally, I was thankful that you rescheduled. And I'm like, gee, I'm glad that I listened to that little nudge that I got of, the time's not right now. Let's do this in a couple of weeks' time. So, that's a perfect tiny example of something that just works out better when we listen to it.